Like this, we'll take the mantras that we are studying only, because they are for Nididhyasanam. All the mantras, Kenopanishad in particular. The initial part that we do of Prana Vikshanam, when we are doing it on our own, depending upon how comfortable we get, we can reduce that time. We don't have to do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Because if you get only 20 minutes to meditate, then we have to accordingly adjust that time. Okay. Oh. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharacham Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Rama Mamuddhara Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryat Ma Brahma Nirakarot Anirakarnamastvanirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaha te mayi santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. First mantra also will chant. Om Kene Shitam Patati Preshitam Manaha Kena Pranah Prathamah Praiti Yuktah Keneshitam Vachamimam Vadanti Chakshushrotram Kaudevo Yunakti. We were seeing the Vakya Bhashya of the first mantra, where the student is asking a question to the teacher. A lot of the background behind who is this student, why is he asking this question, we saw in introductory Bhashya. Sambandha Bhashya, we saw that. All Upanishadic questions, they look very, very simple. And if we don't look at it closely, it looks very mundane. Now, I also know the answer to this, right? Kene Shitam. I say Atma is the one who prompts it. But Upanishads, when we study with Bhashya, it challenges us on that point. You say for every word, there is a lot of subtlety and lot of depth about why that word has come. We chant in our invocation prayer, right? Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe. Meaning the student is praying to Bhagwan that Bhagwan, may I put forth effort to understand the Vivaksha of mantra. Teacher is putting forth effort, that is one side. Shankaracharya ji will explain but we have to put forth effort to try to understand what is he trying to say. Then the tuning happens, and even if he mentions one point or a very small statement, we'll be able to understand, okay, in this Upanishad, this is how he had elaborated it. This is what he means over here. That is called as Vivaksha. What is the intention of Mother Shruti to use a particular word? What was the word here? We had seen Ishitam and Preshitam, right? So these are just two words. You can say prompted by what, desired by what. But Bhagwan says, I want to know the precise Vivaksha of Mother Shruti. Okay, that is where all elaboration takes place. Last class we had seen in detail about these two words. One was Ishitam, second was Preshitam. And Bhagwan said, Ishitam word has come because the student is asking about the nature of this prompter. And he wants to know how does it prompt. Right? He is seeking not only Samanya Jnanam, but Vishesha Jnanam. And you will see in Kenopanishad, if you just see the mantras, this point will not get elaborated. What is the precise nature of Atman, we will have to very carefully try to understand it. So that is the meaning of the word Ishitam. And Preshitam is, the student is asking, is the prompter different from the assemblage or is it included in the assemblage? I hope the word assemblage is clear, right? It is not very archaic. Assemblage means group of things put together. More we will see today, but that is what we mean by assemblage. So body is an assemblage because all different parts are as though put together. Car is an assemblage. We call it assembly line, right? So that kind of a thing. So he's asking here, am I Asanga? Is this Atman Asanga or is it included in this Sanghata? That is his question. This is where we had left off, page number 23, Gita Press book, if you see. If you have an online copy, it might be a different page number, so you'll have to match it accordingly. Fourth line from the top. All of you found? Okay. So what is the student's question? He says, is there something which is different from this assemblage? Or is this prompting happening between the assemblage only? Which is what is our common understanding. Right? I say, why is my sense organ going somewhere? Or why am I doing something? Because there is a thought. Where did that thought come from? It came from vasanas. Where did vasana come from? Previous experience. Whatever I have experienced before, that created vasana. So like this, you will end up in a loop. Where did that experience come from? You will say again, because there was a thought and then vasana. Are you getting his question, what he is saying? It is, why do we even need an external prompter? That is common understanding. So the student is asking, is it just like that as we commonly know, or is there something different from this assemblage which is unaffected? So in this BMI chart, what we understand, what Gurudev has pointed as Om, the student is asking about asangata. He's not only asking about presence or absence. He's asking about whether this Om, is it asanga, unaffected by everything below it, or does it get affected? Okay, this is his question. You see the statement, what he's saying. Kimva sanghata vyatiriktasya swatantrasya ichha matrena eva mana adi preshetritvam, or is it yatha prasiddham eva karya karana sanghatasya preshetritvam? Yatha prasiddham meaning like we already know. Is it like that, or is it asanga who is doing this prompting? Okay, Atman is asanga. So Bhagwan says, to explain this point, both words are used, Ishitam and Preshitam. Okay. Now there is one statement which will keep coming later also. If we introduce it now, it will help later when we actually see it in the mantra. So what did the second word Preshitam mean? Preshitam meant that this Atman is Asanga. What is the Hetu? What is the reason given? Hetu given is, now you are familiar with Hetu also, huh? Anumana Pramana, those are studied. Sanghatasya Pararthatvat. Whenever we see an assemblage, that assemblage does not function for its own sake. It will always be functioning for some sentient entity which is different from it. Okay, this is Hetu, this is the reason. Now you will say, give me an example. Okay, you see a car, it's an assemblage, right? Different parts are there. Now this entire car, every part of that car has only one prayojana. It has only one purpose. You say it to run. Run smoothly is the purpose of each and every part of that car. But car runs not for its own sake, but there is a person for whose sake this car will run. Sentient entity, huh? And most importantly, that person is unaffected by that sanghata. Okay, whatever happens, although we feel it that way, right? If some scratch comes, we feel something has happened to me. That is mamatva. Okay, it is very different category. And sadhana are there. But main point to note here is, whenever there is a sanghata, assemblage, it does not have its own purpose, its own goal. It will always function for somebody else. Now you come to a house. Okay, house also is sanghata. What is the meaning of sanghata? Assemblage, right? Group of parts put together is called as sanghata. Now house is an assemblage. All of that entire house, wherever you see, everything has only one purpose. You call it to give shelter. But to give shelter to whom? There is the owner of the house who is different from that house. Sanghata, whenever we take, purpose of that is something different, and it will always be functioning for somebody different from that sanghata. Okay, now comes the important part. We say this body is also sanghata. That there are different parts which are put together, what I call as this body. The main thing is, it doesn't have its own prayojanam. Prayojanam means purpose. Eyes do not see for the sake of eyes. Ear does not hear for the sake of ear. Like this, if you trace back, you will realize everything is functioning for the sake of that Atma Chaitanya. Okay? And the nature of that Atman is, it is Asanga. This much is good over here. More we will see when the answer comes. Right now we are just discussing the question. Right? The teacher will give answer from the second mantra, but he will bring this back. So knowing this idea is very helpful. Pratijna Vakya is Asangata. Atma is Asanga. What is Hetu? You say Sanghatasya Pararthatvat. Wherever there is a Sanghata, it will always be for somebody else. And that person who is the main prayojanam of this Sanghata is always different from it and is unaffected by it. So when you say this body is Sanghata, you say this body does not function for its own sake. Pranas don't function for their own sake. They function for the sake of Atman. That Atman is different from this Sanghata. Now the student is very inquisitive. He keeps asking questions. Now what did the first line of the mantra say? Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. Prompted by what? Desired by what? This mind thinks. Now his question is, why do we need to say that mind is having a prompter? can't this mind be independent? Can't it on its own go and think about something? Because he feels mind is sentient. That is where the confusion comes. He says mind has its own power, let it go towards something and know it. Why do we need this prompter? So now you see what Bhagwan says. Nanu swatantram manaha swavishaye swayam patati iti prasiddham tatra katham prashna upapadyate iti. This is a question the student is asking. This question is only invalid. Mind is independent. It can by itself go and know things. Why do you need a prompter? Uchyate yadi swatantram manaha pravrutti nivrutti vishaye syat tarhi sarvasya anishta chintanam na syat anartham cha janan sankalpayati abhyagra dukkhe cha varyamanam api abhyagra dukkhe cha karye varyamanam api pravartata eva manaha tasmad yukta eva keneshitam ityadi prashnaha. Now the student said, mind is independent, it can go and do whatever it wants. Why do you need a prompter? So Bhagwan is giving a reason to negate this point that mind is independent. What does he say? Yadi swatantram manaha pravritti nivritti vishaye syat. If mind was independent in deciding where to go and where not to go, tarhi sarvasya anishta chintanam na syat. Means this mind would be able to think about only that thing which it wants to think and stay away from those things which it does not want to think. Anarthanam cha janan sankalpayati. But the condition of this mind is, in spite of knowing that I should not think about this, it helplessly keeps thinking about it. Abhyagra dukkhe cha karye varyamanam api pravartata eva manaha. In spite of telling that or knowing that this is not where I should go, this is not where I should do, still it helplessly goes towards it. Tasmad yukta eva keneshitam ityadi prashna. Therefore, don't raise any objection on the question. The student knows that mind is not independent. Now you will say, what does Bhagwan want to say here? Does he want to say that Atman controls the mind? Just now you said Atman is asanga, it does not do anything. This is Bhagwan as a mechanism. He controls the mind, Atman controls the mind, not by itself, through Maya Shakti. Or in other words, through vasanas. So there is a layer in between mind and Atman, which is called as vasanas. But enlivener of vasanas is also Atma. So don't take vasanas as independent or take mind as independent. That is all he wants to say. This bhashya purpose is not to say that Atma is controlling the mind. Atman is only enlivening the mind, just like that rope will enliven the snake. You ask the rope, are you actually enlivening the snake? It says no. It is my nature. Whatever is happening, it is because of Maya. Okay, so that we should note over here. Similar question Arjuna asks in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushah. What is this, because of which I get prompted into doing things which I don't want? And he says, Anichchanapi varshneya baladeva niyojita. in spite of me not wanting it, it appears as though somebody is prompting me to do those things. So how should we understand this? The immediate prompter is vasana. The absolute prompter in the form of substratum is Atma. Okay. There is one sadhana point also over here. Although this is not the main point, what I'm going to say is not the main point of Bhashya. There is one sadhana point. What Bhagwan is telling here is, which thought will come in my mind at what time, I don't have control. Right? Which thought is going to come at what time, I have no control. Because mind is as though paravasha, it is controlled by these vasanas. So according to vasanas, thoughts keep rising. So I should know how to handle this mind. In particular, when we sit down for meditation or when we do japa, a lot of sadhakas feel that mind brings so many thoughts, which I myself don't know how it was there. So in Mandukya Karika, we know there is one Karika which says, Sa Kashayam Vijaniyat. Vijaniyat means just observe it, just recognize that this thing is there. Don't become too judgmental or don't directly go and hold on to that thought. You know what is the reason because of which that is said over there in that way? Thought by itself doesn't have the power to create punya or papa. Why? Because we didn't do any action. There was no kartrutva involved in bringing a thought. It just came because of vasanas. So if you don't do anything with it, it will just pass away. Okay, but if you choose a particular thought and try to repeat it or act upon it, that thought will decide whether it becomes papa or punya. If kartrutva is there, then it brings papa punya. If kartrutva is not there, then it does not bring any papa punya. So this advice is amrutam for a sadhaka, that don't become very judgmental of ourselves when these thoughts come. And if somebody is a sincere sadhaka, it can bother a lot. Oh my God, where did this thought come from? He says it has come from some purva vasana, but why are you holding on to it? Let it go. You are asanga anyway, right? So that is the sadhana side of this thing. There was a question that was submitted in the similar line. We had discussed about it last time also when we were doing Tattva Bodha. Does dream create punya papa or not? We say dream does not create punya papa, it only exhausts punya papa. Because there is no kartrutva in dream, there is no doership in dream. So don't analyze it too much, let it come and go. Our job is to turn towards Atma. Okay. So now all other words of the mantra are opened up. Okay. Kena prana yuktaha niyuktaha preritah san praiti gacchati swavyaparam prati prathama iti prana visheshanam syat tatpurvakatvat sarvendriya pravrittinam kena ishitam vacham imam shabdalakshanam vadanti laukikaha tatha chakshushrotram cha sve sve vishaye kaudevah dyotanavan yunakti niyungte prerayati. What are these words which are highlighted and underlined? Mula mantra. So now you see how every word Bhagwan is opening up. Until now he only discussed Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. Now he is going to the next line. Kena pranaha prathamaha praiti yuktaha. So you see arranging the words a little bit to open up. So this is Bhashya style, how he will emphasize, open up every word. So every sense organ, the student is asking, who is the one who is enlivening it? Kena pranaha yuktaha. I feel pranas are just functioning by themselves. The student has done mananam. He says it cannot function by itself. Why? Because it is part of Sanghata. Sanghata will always, Sanghata assemblage, will always function for somebody else. Swavyaparam prati praiti. It goes on doing all its functions. Prathama iti prana visheshanam syat tat purokatvat sarvendriya pravrittinam. There is a word called as pratamaha pranaha, right? So he's opening that meaning of that word. He says only when prana is there, all other sense organs will function. That is why it is said pratamaha pranaha. Keneshitam vachamimam shabda lakshanam vadanti. Laukikaha. Even common people, when they speak, what is it that is prompting that speech? Maharaj used to say, somebody came to him and said, I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in Bhagwan. He said it is Vadato Vyaghata. Vadato Vyaghata means saying that I am sleeping. Means, you are either asleep, but if you are saying that you are sleeping means you cannot be sleeping. By saying something, you are contradicting yourself. That is called as Vadato Vyaghata. He says the very reason that you are speaking shows that there is an enlivener of your speech. That enlivener is Bhagwan. Right? So if you say, I don't believe in God, have you searched him everywhere? He would go, in his own language. He said, when you come to a conclusion in science, you do thorough inquiry, experiments, and then conclude yes or no. But when you say, I don't believe in God, he says, have you searched him first? Have you inquired into his nature? And then you conclude whatever you want. Keneshitam vachamimam shabda lakshanam vadanti chakshushrotram sve sve vishaye kau devaha yotanavan niyumte. Who is the one who prompts all other sense organs, eyes, ears, into their own fields? Okay. Animation came a little later, sorry. So from the next mantra, the teacher is answering. Some of it I will just read by myself. You don't have to repeat every part of Bhashya. Evam pruštavate yogyaya aha. Yogyaya means having understood that this one is a fit student to receive this teaching of Upanishad. Shrunu yatvam pruchasi mana adi karana jatasya ko devaha svavishayam prati prerayita katham va prerayati. Listen to this now. Who is that prompter that you asked? You said shrotrasya shrotram, chakshushaha chakshuhu. I will tell you about that. So first mantra is complete. Now you see the mantra again and see if any word is unclear after the class. The whole purpose of Bhashya is this. Every word should open up. Ishitam, preshitam. What is prana? Why is the word prathama used? The second two lines also. We should go back and see. Then we will get a very good grasp over the Upanishad. If you want, you can just write the key points. You don't have to write entire Bhashya elaboration. Just the key points, that is sufficient. Second mantra. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yate vacho havacham sau pranasya pranaha chakshushaschakshuratimuchya dhiraha pretyasmallokadamruta bhavanti Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manoyat. Questions of the Upanishad are very interesting. Answers are also very interesting. Even after giving the answer, we wonder whether did he actually give the answer. You see what is the answer. It is ear of the ear. Student said, what is it that enlivens the ear? Teacher is saying, it is ear of the ear. Manaso manaha. It is mind of the mind. Vacho havacham. It is speech of the speech. Sau pranasya pranaha. It is the prana of the prana. Chakshushaha chakshuhu. It is the eye of the eye. If it was anybody else, they would have said, teacher, do you know what you are saying, or you are just making me go round and round? But next line is interesting. If you really understand the meaning of these two lines, the teacher says, Atimucha dhiraha pretya asmat lokat amruta bhavanti. If one is able to give up the sense of I notion in this mind, sense organ, prana, that wise person attains immortality. Phalashruti of just understanding Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manoyat. So in today's meditation, we had taken these two mantras. One was the question, second was the answer. But main thing is to appreciate the greatness of this small understanding that I am not part of this assemblage as Atma. So now Bhagavan will open up every word. So keep an eye out for that and let us see what he says now. Shrotrasya Shrotram Shabdasya Shravanam Pratikaranam Shabda Abhivyanjakam Shrotram Indriyam Tasya Shrotram Saha Yastvaya Prushtah Chakshushaha Shrotram Kaudevo Yunakti Iti. One of the ways of understanding that the teacher really appreciates the question is when the teacher repeats the words which were used by the student. Sometimes you ask a question, but if the teacher has not connected with that question, then they will try to guide us and say, don't think in this way, think in this way. It used to happen with us all the time. Whenever we used to hear something from Swamiji, we would be so excited that we would go and ask some question here, there. And Swamiji would encourage also to do mananam. But you realize in that you can go in several other directions. So here, the student is getting an affirmation that his question is in the right place. The teacher is saying, what you had asked, Shrotra, Chakshuhu Shrotram Kaudevo Yunakti, that is this Atman. What is this? He says, Shrotrasya Shrotram. It is ear of the ear. Means it is the enlivener of our ability to hear. First, Bhagavan says, from that Shabda, from that Vishaya, you come to hearing first. We don't have to go anywhere. Our own sense organs we should bring our attention back to, and then trace it back to where this main enlivening is happening from. Bhagavan defines even what is the meaning of the word Shrotram. That is his style. He would not take anything for granted. Now let us ask ourselves, how do you define ear? Is a ear is ear. This is my ear. What are you asking for definition? This is a style that if we appreciate and learn, we will benefit a lot in our thinking. Whenever we take a word, coming up with a paribhasha for that word. Paribhasha means that which very precisely defines that particular word. Pari upasarga, you have seen in Sanskritam class now. Paritaha bhashitam. From all sides, it is very well defining it. That is called as paribhasha. What is paribhasha of Shrotram? He says, Shrunoti anena iti Shrotram. That by which we hear, that instrument is called as Shrotram. Now, a little bit more finer definition. Shabdasya Shravanam Prati Karanam. Karanam, asadharana Karanam. The exclusive instrument by which words are being heard. That instrument is called as Shrotram. You see how much precision he is bringing just in the word Shrotram. And he explains it even more. Shabda Abhivanjakam Shrotram Indriyam. That which manifests sound for you, that instrument is called as Shrotra Indriya. Abhivanjakam means it manifests. So I will be called as what? Rupa Abhivanjakam. That is the Vishaya of I. Rupa, form, that which reveals a form is called as I. Now these definitions, if we keep reflecting upon it, one is our mind will become quiet. To come up with these definitions is not easy, right? And through that, something else will open up. But later we will see that. Now he has just defined all these things. Now the student asks, did the teacher really answer the question? Answer is given, huh? Already Phalashruti is also done. He said, I am confused. I asked one question. I don't even know whether teacher answered or not. So the student opponent is asking. Asau evam vishishtah shrotradini niyungte iti vaktavye nanu etad ananurupam prativachanam nanu etad ananurupam prativachanam Shrotrasya Shrotram iti na esha doshaha tasya anyatha vishesha anavagamat yadi hi shrotradi vyapara vyatiriktena swavyaparena vishishtah shrotradi-niyokta avagamyeta datradi prayoktruvat tada idam ananurupam prativachanam syat natviha shrotradinam prayokta swavyapara vishishtah lavitradivat adhigamyate. So the student asked, or he is saying rather, the teacher should have given a direct answer. Student asked a very clear question. What is it that prompts the ear? What is it that prompts the eyes? So teacher should have said that this is Atman who is prompting the ear, eyes, and so on. Asau evam vishishtah shrotradi niyungte iti vaktavye nanu etad anurupam prativachanam shrotrasya shrotram. You should not have said this shrotrasya shrotram. It's very confusing. You should have given a direct answer. And this is a very important point. Bhagwan is saying na esha doshaha. This is the only way in which you can give an answer. Why is that? He says tasya anyatha vishesha anavagamat. Atman doesn't have any visheshanas of its own. It doesn't have any indicators of its own, any attributes of its own. It doesn't also have an action of its own. So if you have to point out Atman, you will always have to point out with some kind of conditioning. That conditioning happens to be Shrotram. So if teacher had said it is Atma, then the student would have understood it to be something else, different from him. So that's why the teacher says the only way to reveal this knowledge is to point out the conditioning and then to shift our attention to the substratum. Okay, Shrotrasya Shrotram, first bring your attention to the ear and then know that Atman to be your own self. यदि हि श्रोत्रादि व्यापार व्यतिरिक्तेन स्वव्यापारेण विशिष्टः श्रोत्रादि नियोक्ता अवगम्येत दात्रादि प्रयोक्तृवत्. If Atman had some kind of conditioning or some kind of action of its own, then you could indicate it even without other conditionings. Example is given of the one who is holding a sickle or an axe or something. He says that person who is holding, let us say that farmer, he has a name of his own, he has a action of his own, he has an identity separate from that action. So you can indicate that farmer by calling his name also. Means even when he gives up this action of cutting, he still has his own identity. So Atman, one cannot indicate in this way, because Atma doesn't have action of its own. But whatever action we are seeing, all of that is enlivened by Atma. This is to emphasize that point, this thing is brought in. If you want a simpler example, you take driver and a car. When you sit in the car only, you get the title of a driver. But when you come out, people don't call us driver, right? We have a name, we have some other kriya that we can do. So driving kriya is not the only way in which I can be indicated. I have other kriyas, this driver. But Atma doesn't have any other kriya of its own, no action of its own, so we cannot indicate it like another object. Okay, that is the point that Bhagavan wants to say here. If you want a more simpler understanding of this, right? The takeaway message is recognizing Nishkriya Atma in every Kriya. Because that is the only way Atman will be pointed out. Whichever Kriya we see, either it is speaking, hearing, whatever Kriya is happening, right there is Atma. Don't look for Atma somewhere else or think that Atman is some different thing which is Nishkriya. You might wonder, what is this hand symbol? Right? This is the incident which you might have heard in Raman Maharshiji's life. There is one devotee who comes to him and says, "Can you show me God? Can you show me God?" And Bhagavan says, "I can show you. I don't know if you can see it or not." He says, "I can show, but I don't know if you can see it." He says, "No, I will see it. You show me." And it is said for 5 minutes, Bhagavan just does this. One hand from one side to another side. The devotee asks, "What is this, hand you are just moving from one place to another?" He says, "You are seeing only finger." It depends what you are seeing. That's why I said, I can show you, but I'm not sure if you can see or not. Then he explained that from this Thula come to that Chaitanya. This inert body which cannot function, that is enlivened by some Chaitanya. He says that Chaitanya is Bhagavan. Essential nature of Bhagavan is Chaitanya. Or you say, my essential nature is Atma. Okay, so in every Kriya, recognizing Nishkriya Atma. I hope all of you are following in the Bhashya also. No? I'm on the 27th page right now. Okay. So now comes another important portion of how this Atma is Asanga. Okay, what we just saw, right? Sangatasya Pararthatvat. That point will be emphasized more over here. Shrotradinam evatu samhatanam Vyaparena alochana sankalpa adhyavasaya lakshanena phala avasana lingena avagamyate अस्ति हि श्रोत्रादिभिः असंहतः यत् प्रयोजन प्रयुक्तः श्रोत्रादिकलापः गृहादिवत् इति संहतानां परार्थत्वात् अवगम्यते श्रोत्रादीनां प्रयोक्ता तस्माद् अनुरूपम् एव इदं प्रतिवचनं श्रोत्रस्य श्रोत्रमित्यादि. Now Bhagwan is coming to closer things which bother us so much. What is that? He says mind. Everything which is there is part of assemblage. It is able to function only because of Atma. Shrotradinam evatu samhatanam vyaparena alochana sankalpa adhyavasaya lakshanena. What is the nature of this mind? It will keep thinking. It will go to some place. It will come to a conclusion. So over here, Bhagwan is not distinguishing between Antahkarana and the mind. All four components we should take it together. Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. All of that together is able to function because of Chaitanya. If we have a question about how to fine-tune this Antahkarana, we say that is part of sadhana. If I want good memory, if I want good decision-making power, if I want a quiet mind, we say that is part of sadhana. Vedanta is here to tell us that I am different from this mind. Phala avasana lingena avagamyate. Phala avasana means there where phala vyapti happens, where I can claim or understand that I know this thing, but that knowing will always be of something outside of this world. Atman is that enlivener because of which I know. If you remember Vritti Vyapti, Phala Vyapti discussion, where did we have it? Pratyaksha Pramana. That reflected consciousness is the one who says, I know. And then this Vritti goes and pervades that object. Bhagwan is telling here that because of which this entire prakriya of Pratyaksha Pramana happens, that is Atma. I am able to think about something, know something, that main original consciousness, that is Atma. The one who is claiming it is Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness. And Atman is the original consciousness. This is a very important line. We introduced it earlier, but you can mark it. Asti hi shrotradibihi asamhataha. There is something which is asanga, unaffected by all this sense organs, mind, and everything. Yat prayojana prayuktaha shrotradi kalapa. Because of whose sake alone, all these factors of this assemblage, sense organs, mind, everything is functioning. Then Bhagwan gives the hetu sanghatasya pararthatvat. Samhatanam pararthatvat avagamyate shrotradinam prayokta. That is why we saw it earlier. So now it becomes easy to understand that whenever there is a sanghata, there has to be somebody who is different from that sanghata, for whose sake this assemblage is functioning. Now you take any sanghata, you will fit this definition. You say there is a company that is working. Company is also sanghata. But it doesn't work for its own sake. There is a sentient being who is different from it, for whose sake that sanghata functions. Any organization you take, it has prayojanam is always different from that sanghata. This creation is also a sanghata. It is that it functions for Bhagavan. Okay, that prayojanam it has. Samhatanam pararthatvat, Bhagavan says that is why this is Yukta Vachanam. Shrotrasya Shrotram, that is the only way you can communicate this knowledge. And this is the line we had taken today in meditation. Taking Atman to be part of assemblage is called as avidya. Okay, avidya is not something very different that I don't know how to understand. Thinking myself to be part of this assemblage is avidya. So what are the steps in Vedanta sadhana? If you look at it that way, we say, we are just looking at this line. Astihi shrotradibi asamhatah yat prayojana prayuktah shrotradi kalapa gruhadivat. First step in Vedanta sadhana is to understand that I am asanga. Like, example is given of a river which is flowing. Become tatastha. Tatastha means sit on a bank. Don't jump in that river. If you jump, then you are one with that river. Wherever that river wants, it will take us. So first step is to understand I am different from this mind. I am different from these thoughts. Okay, that is step number 1. Step number 2 is, we cannot leave it at that in Vedanta. We have to go to the second step, where we say Atma is real and thoughts are only an appearance. Okay. Just like in that rope snake example, a rope is real and that snake is only an appearance. There are no two things over there. One alone is appearing as two. This will take a lot of thorough understanding of Vedanta, but we say dukkha nivritti will happen only in this way. If I keep Atma and thoughts or Atma and mind at the same level, I will always feel I'm getting bound. Now I am okay when mind becomes quiet. In the seat of meditation, I'm okay. But when I go out in the world, I get agitated. I feel that this mind is coming and affecting me. So first step is to get this conviction that I'm different from the mind. And second is to know that mind is of a different degree of reality. And more sadhana we have done, thoughts will not be bothering. Right? Vedanta's area of advice or discussion is not about purifying the mind. Vedanta will only tell I am not the mind and mind is mithya. But we know our problems don't end at that. We don't have ignorance as our only problem. We have agitation also. We have so much of anxiety as the problem. So many other things are there. So I will have to take care of them through my sadhana. Just by saying mind is mithya, agitations will not go. That is why Ramana Maharshi gives 3 different paths in the beginning. Right? He says, through karma yoga, let us be very alert in our vyavahara. Through devotion, let us connect with Bhagavan. Japa, puja, dhyanam, let us do all of that. Now he will mention about Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga means yama, niyama, they are the most important limbs. He will discuss only pranayama, but living a very alert life, making sure that this mind doesn't get caught up in different smaller things. That mind, when it does Vedanta Shravanam, this truth is very easy to absorb. Which truth? To understand that mind is of a different degree of reality. Atma alone is Satyam. Mind just appears in this consciousness. Now you see this line, right? Astihi shrotradibi asamhatah. There is something which is different from Atma. Different from the Sanghata. And the second part is Yat prayojana prayuktu. Because of that alone, everything functions. All of you are fresh as of now, or are you tired after an hour and a half? This is a very, very important point. If you can catch it, nothing like it. We say this itself is the play of Maya. What itself is the play of Maya? That all sense organs which are there, right? Hearing, touching, smelling, all of them are functioning But what are they functioning for? To give joy to this Atma. And if you ask, what is the nature of Atma? You say Atma is Ananda Swarupa. Right? So running around seeking happiness for that Atman which is ever Ananda Swarupa, we say that is the play of Maya. You take it in another way, whatever prayojanam we have, right? We say it is always because of aham. We have to put a little more thinking into this. Whatever I am doing in my life, all of that is for aham only. And not only aham, I want to make this aham happy. But the question is, you inquire into the nature of aham. And there we will find Atman, which is Ananda Swarupa. So not knowing that, I have taken several other things which I say will make me happy, which will make me content. Okay. So this we have to reflect upon more and more. There is one chapter in Upadesha Sahasri. Shankaracharya ji has composed that text also. There is a dialogue between mind and Atma. This mind is saying that, oh, I will go and bring this for you. I will go and bring this joy for you. And Atma is saying, I am already Ananda Swarupa. What is it that you will bring me that I don't have? And Bhagavan says, one who can do this kind of dialogue will abide more in Atma. Abidance will become easier when we do this thinking. Okay, more we will see later. Until this point, main emphasis was on Atma is Asanga. Sangatasya pararthatvat, Atma Asangaha. Yatha Gruhadivat. Just like a house. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. If there are any quick questions, you can just put it here. Instead of letting thoughts pass, can it be replaced with a thought of Bhagavan? I think this was in the context of that sadhana we discussed, right? When thoughts just keep coming, what should I do? Yes, that is a very powerful sadhana if one is able to do that. Substituting one thought with another. And it will happen only when we have that sambandha. Right? Otherwise, you cannot just bring thought of Bhagavan to replace some bothering thought. More sambandha we have, then it is easier to replace. Vedantic solution is very different, but this is sadhana solution. In person, anything? Everything good? Okay. Hari Om. Hari Om, everyone.